The last session we are discussing about the conflict in the variables of superclass and subclass. I'll continue the same. This class what I'm taking is only to create conflicts. For the purpose of creating conflicts and to clear your doubts, I'm doing it. I'll give you some 2-3 examples. But fact is we never create so many conflicts while programming. Okay, because it will be confusing not only for you tomorrow, for others also are going to refer to your code. But just for the doubts what you got, I'll be creating conflicts, I'll be resolving it, and just for the purpose of example it is. But we practically do not create these many conflicts. So let's take that now. So we are having this problem now. So we will have an instance variable here called as int x. I'll take. So class A is having on x. So it will have an constructor also, and there is conflict between local variable and instance variable. We resolve it like this. Understood? So see, one side we are learning how to write variables also, other side we are learning how to build subclass also, or data type we are learning. Okay, so yes, now I want all the members of this class, I want a new member. So that's when what we do, instead of modifying the class, we go for subclasses. So what we do now, class B, I need space I think. Okay, we'll do this. Class B extends A, I'll write. So here see, I want an extra variable. I could have gone with a different variable name, but I continue with what? The same variable name. So if there is a conflict now, how do you resolve this? So I'll take int P, int Q. Now in the subclass constructor, you should have how many variables? Parameters? 2. In the subclass constructor, you should have 2 parameters. Reason is because there will be 2x. Now how do you initialize both the x? One is, I can write this dot x. Okay, one second. Means super can be in any line, understand that. Super dot x is equal to x because I'm accessing the variable. Okay, this dot x is equal to x, this is valid. Okay, sorry, p and q is equal to p is equal to q, correct? Otherwise, instead of this, I could have done what? I could have used super of, I could have invoked the constructor of superclass. One, you can access the variable and initialize, otherwise you can invoke the constructor. But remember, super keyword will be always referring to immediate superclass. Okay, immediate superclass. We had seen on definition. I'll be showing you the definition. Okay, that point I'll give you. Just a second, hold on. Never forget this point, I'll just show you. Okay, so now if you want to print the values, I'll write what? Void. Here I could have added on method. Okay, first we'll complete this point. See, super is a reference variable. Never forget this point, which refers to the immediate superclass of current object. Okay, means if there is a hierarchy like this, which I'll be showing you now. Okay, if there is a hierarchy like this, if there is class A, class B, class C. Here if you use super in class C, if you use super, it will refer to B class. In B class, if you use super, it will refer to A class. This will be referring to current class like this. This is very important now. This diagram you should never forget. Understood? Super will be referring to what? If I use super in the subclass, it will refer to the immediate superclass. If it is not available, then it will work with the next superclass. That's how it goes. Okay, this point, just diagram you remember. One more I'll write D now. Here also I'll have this. Here also I'll have super. Super will refer to. So this is how it goes on. Okay. So this will refer to the current class. Super will refer to super class. In the current object, this will be referring to current class. See, there is something called as super class of current object. These two words you understand. Current class of current object. Superclass of current object, which keyword you'll use? Super keyword. Current class of current object, which keyword you'll use? This keyword. That's the difference. Understood? Slowly you'll get the point. This point is very important. So if I use this here, it will be referring to this. Super means it will refer to immediate superclass. By chance, if it is not available here, then it will look in B class. By chance, if it is not available, then it will be looking in A class. First preference is given to immediate superclass. If anything is found in that superclass, it leaves that only. Okay. Supposingly, you'll be understanding here. Here is one x, here is one x, here is one x. So here if I say super dot x, it will be working with which x, sir? Cx. But by chance there is no x in C, then preference is given to x of B. I am accessing in D only. See here in M1 method, if I say super dot x, first preference will be given to what? X of C. If it is not there, it will be giving to preference to x of B. If it is not there, it will give preference to x of A. So if in D, if you say super dot x, first preference is given to C superclass. If it is not there, then it will refer to B superclass. If it is not there, then it will refer to A superclass. This is a story, but that's why you don't create so many conflicts. If there is no conflict, no, you can access all the variables where? In subclass directly. Okay, so this is the story. This is a demo to give that example now. 1 second, here I'll write one more. Correct it is, just I'll add one more which one method, that's it. Int x, this dot x is equal to x. I can write on M1 method just to see the values. SOP value of x in A is plus x. Here also I can write void M2. So see how you call the method of superclass? You can write super dot M1, or directly I can call M1. That's your wish. Or I can write SOP value of x in B is plus x. Understood? Here current x I will say only x. But if I want, I can print another way also. Value of 1 second. See, 1 second. I'll do it like this. See, A value you can print in these many ways. Super dot M1 I can call. M1 I can call. Or value of x in A, how will I print? Plus super dot x. Understand now? I'm accessing the x of superclass in two places. One is in constructor, one is in methods. So always we talk about accessing. Value of x in B is, what will I do? There is no conflict here. So directly I will say, this dot x or x will do, no problem. So this is with two classes you have seen. Next what we will do, if you want, we can work with C class also. Let's see with C class now. Class C extends, you know these two. I don't have to explain these two now. I'll go with class C extending B now. So here also I'll have one more x. Yes, valid now. What was the intention of writing C? I wanted all the members of A and B plus extra member. So that is why I go for multi-level hierarchy. When you go for multi-level hierarchy, when you want members of A plus members of B plus extra members. Okay, so when you want like that, what will you do? You will go for multi-level. Multi-level means A, B, C, D, like that it will go. So we are doing it. But here I decided to go give a new variable with the same name. Option is there. So such kind of conflicts will go on occurring in inheritance. And Java gives a brilliant approach for solving these kind of problems now. Let us see this. So here how will I do? So in the C constructor, how many variables you should have? 3. Because it should initialize 3x. So I create the subclass object. Always remember the subclass constructor. And I create a subclass object. The subclass constructor should be having the number of parameters in the subclass parameter should equal to the total number of instance variables. Understood? It's not mandatory. Only one value you can get and give it to all the instance variables. But what I am telling is, it's better your parameters in the subclass constructor is equal to the number of instance variables in all the classes A, B, C and all that. So I am getting 3 now. So once it comes, what will I do now? Super of 1 second. Okay, we'll go with this style. Now here it will start. Now see, I'm accessing the constructor now. In the constructor I'll access super dot x is equal to Q. This dot x is equal to R. But fine, I can initialize only 2. I cannot initialize the third x or the A in x in C. This is the problem. You understanding now? If you say super dot x is equal to P also, what will happen? The one in B will be overwritten. The one in B, first it will get the value in P, then it will be overwritten value of Q. So super will be working with immediate superclass X. Okay. By chance X was not there. Where? in B, then it would have worked with which x, sir? X of A. Understood? Don't create so many conflicts. I'm telling you, but just I'm giving an example for demo purpose. Okay, so you can never work. This is not possible. Means your intention was to work with X of A. This will not happen. Your intention was that, but it's not working with that one. Okay, you're understanding now your intention. Your intention is to give the value of P to X in A. That will not happen like this. Directly you can't do. If at all you want to do now it becomes mandatory to invoke what? Constructor of superclass. You send this value here. Now that X can be accessed here. That's your option. Or you can send the value to superclass constructor. So you go on doing like this. Super of PQ. So what will happen now? It will come here. Now that X can be accessed here. See, here I can initialize one X, but here I can initialize this X. So in the subclass constructor, remember, you can initialize two variables. One of the immediate superclass, one of the current class. So either you take this approach, understood now? Either of one of immediate superclass and one more of current class. Again here what I can do, one of immediate class and one more of superclass. Only two you can initialize. Provided there is conflict. If there is no conflict, example X, Y, Z. If the instance variable names were X, Y, Z, blindly I could have written what? X is equal to P, Y is equal to Q, Z is equal to R. Blindly I could have done it. Understood? So blindly you could have accessed. We did it now. W is equal to with the shipment. If I want, I can say what? W is equal to W, X is equal, H is equal to, like that. See, if this is X, Y, Z, are you following now? This is X, this is Y. In the subclass it is Y. In the C class it is Z. Now how will I initialize? X is equal to P, Y is equal to Q, Z is equal to R. There is no conflict only. Blindly, I am not even using super also, I am not using this also. If there is no conflict, directly you can do like this. Understood? But if there is conflict, you go on resolving like this. Clear? That is why don't create. And you should know where to create and where not to create. Okay, so creating conflicts doesn't mean that you are very brilliant. Okay, conflict should be created where it is actually necessary. Okay, so as an expert you should know where to create conflict and where not to create conflict, and if you create conflict, Java is giving you a brilliant mechanism to resolve it. These kind of solutions are not there in other languages. When you get a problem like this in other object oriented languages, now it becomes very difficult to resolve it. But Java is doing it in a more elegant way. Okay, this problem might occur in C++ also because it's also an object oriented language. Check out how you resolve it. Okay, but here it is much easier as compared to your C++ and all that. Here it is much easier. Fine. Now again I'll take one more class. Class D extends C. Now this will go on. Okay, one second. I'll add one method here. I'll add one more method to print the values. Void M3. Now M3 can access how many X? Not only in constructor. In the M3 method also you can access what? Only immediate X or current X. Immediate X can be of B or it can be of current X, that is C. Let's see this. SOP value of X in B is plus super dot X. SOP value of X in C is plus X. Over now. But I can never print the value of which X? X in A. It is not possible. It is restricted. You have to go to B class only and access X of A class. So that to do that, I could have done what? I could have called the method. I could have called which method? This is another option. See, either you go with this option or you call M2. You call M2 method. How will you call M2? You know, no? Either directly or super dot M2. That's it. So if you call M3 now, CC is equal to new C. See the client code now. Class demo. Client code you see now. PSVM. CC is equal to new C. I'll pass values as 5, 6, 7. Let's see the execution now. Full memory gets allocated. What are the members? I am creating an object of which class now? C class. Okay, when I create an object of C class, what will happen? All the members of A, B, C will come into existence. What are the members of A, B, C now? So you're having X, you're having one construct, same members will come into existence. There is no doubt about it. You'll have one M1 method and you'll have X here. You'll have one more constructor, int X, int P, no? Oh, here we are having X, fine. Here I have created conflict. Int X, fine. So int P, int Q. Super of P. This dot X is equal to Q. Here there is no conflict. Directly you could have told what? X is equal to Q only you could have told. You are having M2. See here if I say X, super dot X. X means it will work with current X. Here if I say super dot X, it will work with which X? X in A. So fine. Again I can have one more X here. So int P, int Q, int R. So super of PQ, this dot X is equal to R. In M3, if I say SOP X, it will work with current X. SOP means if I say super dot, it will be working with, and the story is same here. Just now what I told you, this will be referring to this one, this will be again referring to this one, super here will be referring to this class. Here also this will be referring to current class, super will be referring to super class. If you keep this logic in mind, it will be easy. Okay, now by chance when I say in M3, now see I have created, first let's create the object. CC is equal to new C of 567. So full memory will be allocated. The arguments are passed to which constructor? C constructor. 5 is given to P, 6 is given to Q, 7 is given to R. Super of PQ means the P value will be given to this P. Now PQ are where arguments. PQ are where parameters. Here P and Q become arguments. So this argument and here P and Q are what? Parameter. So from P what you are doing? Again giving it to X. From P you will give it to X. Now X is the parameter. So what happens now? X will be initialized to 5. It comes back. This dot X is equal to 6. This X will be initialized to 7. 6, and this will be initialized to 7. So this is how the initialization will happen. And if I print SOP C dot X, it will print 7 only. Current one will be given the preference because you have created an object of C. So here in another class you can never access which X? BX and AX. Here in another class you can't access because it's conflicted. So in another class I am talking because demo is not related with ABC. So here you cannot access X of B and X of C. It is present but I cannot access it. Preference will be given to local one. So if at all I want to work with X of B and X of A, you have to know, clearly know. So to work with X of B, you have to come to C class. How will you come to C class? You call the method C dot M2. No, M2 method, M3. C dot M3. Now M3 method can work with what? X of only B, but not A. Immediate superclass. If X was not there, that means it will print what you know. SOP X means it will print current one is 7. SOP super dot X means it will print which one? 6. It will print 6 and 7. But you can never print from here what? 5 also. It is not possible. So if at all you want, it is not possible, impossible. So what you have to do? If you at all you want to work with that, you have to send the control. Now what? M3 will invoke M2, M2 will invoke M1. Okay, so here you can use it. So this will be the flow. So if you create conflicts, now working with that is a big headache. But Java solution is simple. Java solution to this conflicted variables is simple compared to other languages. Okay, but if you create so many conflicts, it will be a problem for you only. Do not create so many conflicts. Otherwise, same if it was X, Y, Z, I could have access to all the values. SOP C dot X, SOP C dot Y, SOP C dot Z, I could have access now, like you have done it in box shipment. Shipment S is equal to new shipment S dot W, S dot H, S dot D, S dot weight, S dot cost. All you can access. But when there is conflicted, then you can't access it like this. Understood? So you can access M3 method. Now M3 will access which one? M2, M2 will access M1. You do one thing. You comment here X. Remove X. Means you comment there. And now you print super dot X. You know what it will be printing? 5 it will print. From there it will print. Understood? If you remove it, it will be giving it from superclass. Similarly, you can extend it to any level. Class D, and this is a maximum now. Don't go beyond this. This is also valid. So here, if I write, what happens? Int x. So D class constructor should get how many values? 4. So you can write D int P int Q int R int. Yes, super of P Q R. X is equal to, yes, this dot x is equal to s. M4 method. In D you can access what? M4 method, what will you do? SOP super dot x will print what? 1 in C. Okay. SOP value of x in C I can access is plus current C x I will access value of x in D is plus this dot x or only x, no problem. That's how it will work. Clear? But don't create. Just for the purpose of creating it, I created because you asked question. I didn't ask. Correct? So since you asked question, correct? I am only the bakra. I have to give you the answer. So I gave you. In your conflicts, you have one more example will give, which will clear all your doubts. So this you type and see by yourself. Why am I not typing is there is no use of this. We don't create so many conflicts. What is actually essential, I will type and show. Clear? But if you want, you can practice, type this and try all this. Okay. So now say by chance, now one more last thing. In D, okay, I'll see x is not there in C. X is not there in C. But in D, if I say super dot x, it will work with bx. By chance, if it is not there, it will work with that. By chance, if it is not there, then it will work with ax. Like that, it will go. Preference is given to immediate superclass. Understood? Clear this? We'll type this and find out now. Okay, but I give you one more example where some more conflicts I'll show you, and it will you'll get the clear idea. I'll combine both now. There I'll combine super and this with constructor with variables. All I'll combine super and this with constructor also I'll show. Super and this with variables also I'll show. That time we'll get the clear idea how you mix all this. Shall I clear this now? Any questions here? Any questions here? So work with the conflicted member in subclasses. That's it. Shall I clear now? See, when you write subclasses, you should write elegant subclasses. Elegant means what? Beautiful subclasses. Because it's a data type what you are preparing. When you prepare your subclass data type, it should not be confusing for others to use. Otherwise, what they'll do now? If your class is not a good class, what they'll do now? They'll not use B class. Instead, they'll inherit A and write their own class. Understood? So you should write good classes. Good classes means which should not be confusing for others to use. They'll start going for hierarchical inheritance. Understood? They'll inherit A and they'll add the extra members what they require in C class, another class. They'll not touch your class, they'll not modify, they'll not use it only. They'll leave it off. Understood? Anyway, hierarchical I have to explain you why it is, we'll see it later. Okay, one more example we'll see. Class A, int P, Q. There are two instance variables with the name, or we'll be running short of variables today. Int x5, I'll take two variables, fine. Then I'll have a constructor. So I'll show you full chaining now. What amount of chaining you want, you tell, we'll create it. Statement is correct. I'll just write it in a compressed format. So either I can access it here. See, here there is conflict. Just you understand how I have written the constructor. I have written two constructors. One constructor is initializing which one? Only x. The second constructor is getting two parameters now. Int x, int y. But what will the second constructor do? It will reuse the initialization logic of x by invoking the first constructor. And y it will initialize. Okay. So you see how we are resolving conflicts. Here there is conflict only with x. Here there is conflict only with y. But the second constructor also is invoking what? First constructor. So we are using this with constructor also. We are using this with variable also. This example you have seen. Earlier I had given you these examples. Okay. And in M1, if you want to print the value of x and y, there is no conflict. Remember that. Value of x and y is how I can print. Directly also I can print, or with this keyword also I can print. Plus this dot x plus this dot y. Correct now? My t and plus look same, man. Plus this dot y. Both are valid. Here there is no conflict. Do you have any questions in this class? Class A? I'll write class B. Their full conflicts I'll create. Any questions in conflicts of class A? You understand how it is resolved? I'm showing you the combination of what? This with constructor also, this with variables also. So if you want to call the constructor, it should be the first line. See that. If you want to access the variable, it should be in the, it can be in any line. Variables can be accessed in any line. But constructor should be accessed in the first line. Understood? Constructor should be accessed in the first line. Then class B, int x, y, z, m. Now heavy conflicts will start off. Understood? Heavy conflicts will start off. Because see, I am having 4 instance variables where now? Subclass. But 2 are conflicted. Which one? X and y are conflicted. X and y are conflicted. Now let's see. So to initialize now, how many values should I get in B constructor? 6. 2 for superclass instance variable, 4 for subclass instance variables. But I'll get 4. For the purpose of creating conflicts, I'm doing that. Actually, I should get 6 variables. Yes or no? I should get 6. 2 to give to variables of superclass, 4 to give to variables of subclass. But I just create, for the purpose of creating conflict, I'm doing this. Int x, int y, int z, int m. Okay, now we should get 6, but I'm getting only 4. What will I do now is, just a second. Okay, now see, B is also having two constructors. Okay, in the first constructor of B, only x and y are getting initialized. Only x and y. Okay, means the first constructor of B is having only two parameters, but the second constructor of B is having what? Four parameters. Now check. If I want, I can call the constructor of which one? Assuming that we can make this as private, no? You can make the constructor as private, no? Why will you make it as private? Because I don't want this constructor to be invoked from outside. Because if you invoke the B constructor from outside, see what happens. I'll show you. B is equal to new B of 5 and 6. What will happen? Memory will be allocated. What are all the things in the memory now? You will have X, Y from which class? Class A. You will have two constructors. Int X. One more will be int X, int Y. You will have both the constructors here. Then you will have X, Y, Z, M. Then you have the B constructor. You will have int X, int Y. What will the B constructor do? It will initialize which one? Only X, Y. Z and M will not be initialized. Check out. Yes or no? You are having X, Y, Z, M. Totally how many variables are there? In class A there are 2, X and Y. In class B how many are there? X, Y, Z, M. 4 are there. So if I call the constructor with two parameters, it will invoke the second constructor. It will not invoke the third, which one? Sorry, it will invoke the first constructor in B. It will not invoke the second constructor of B. But what will the first constructor of B do? See here. Either it can invoke the constructor of superclass. Super of X means what it will do? It will invoke the constructor of superclass. That is A. And it will invoke the second constructor. What will second constructor do? Invoke the constructor in first constructor here. Like this chaining will happen. Okay. Either you want to invoke like this, or you can initialize like this also. Yes or no? Directly you can access and initialize. But here the only thing which will happen is only X and Y are getting initialized. But Z and M are not getting initialized. Are you following it now? Z and M are not getting initialized. To initialize Z and M, I am having the second constructor. Now let's see this flow now. B is equal to new B. Supposingly I make this as private, you cannot call it. Now see, B is equal to new B of 5, 6, 7, 8. What happens? Values will come to second constructor. In second constructor what will happen? The values are given to X, Y, Z, M parameters. The values in 4 parameters have to be given to 6 instance variables. Now how will you give? One option is, see this. I can access the variable directly. This dot X is equal to X, this dot Y is equal to Y, super dot X is equal to X, super dot Y is equal to Y. This dot Z is equal to Z, this dot M is equal to M. Why did I say this dot X is equal to X? There is conflict between local variable and instance variable. X and X, conflict. This dot Y is equal to Y, conflict between instance variable and local variable. Super dot X is equal to X, conflict between superclass instance variable and subclass local variable. So like this also I can initialize. Okay. Or other option would have been what? This of XY. Means what will this of XY do? Invokes the constructor in the same class. Which one? B. First constructor will invoke. So value of X and Y will be given to B. What will B do now? It will send the values to superclass. Like this chaining will go on now. So you don't focus on accessing and initializing. Leave this. This part you leave it. Even though you can do it, will not do it like that. Because you are rewriting the initialization logic again. So that's why what we do now, we always initialize in what way now? By invoking the constructors. See how you are doing the chaining now. First, the subclass constructor will create a chain by calling the constructor in the same class. Now the subclass constructor will create the second constructor in B class will create the chain in the subclass itself by using what keyword? This. Now the subclass constructor will create a chain by calling the constructor of superclass. Again chain is created here by calling constructor in same class. So if you want to do chaining, you decide. Either you can do chaining in same class or you can do chaining in superclass. If you want to do chaining in same class, use this keyword. If you want to do chaining in superclass, use super keyword. But remember, one constructor can call only one constructor. Invocation of constructor is possible by what? One constructor can invoke only one. Means when you say this of xy here, again I cannot say super of xy. Two things I can't do. So that is why either this or super should be the first line. Why they will not allow this? They don't want the constructors to, see, if you go on doing like this, finally what will happen? Values will be overwritten. You know, so that's why one constructor gets only one chance to invoke another constructor. Which one you want, you decide. Either you invoke the constructor in the same class or you invoke the constructor of superclass. But one constructor gets only one chance to invoke another constructor. One chance. Understood now? You cannot do this. Is error now. Remember, don't do this. And this is a very important interview question. What is constructor chaining? Constructor chaining is nothing but one constructor invoking another constructor. Okay, it can be in same class or it can be in superclass. Very important interview question now. Okay, why do you do constructor chaining? To reuse initialization logic. Okay, now what is the difference between this and super? This and super means with brace you have to tell. With brace, I'm talking with brace now. This and super. See, this refers to the current class of current object. Super refers to super class of current object. You know the difference. But I'm talking about these two now. This, both of them will create constructor chaining. But this will create constructor chaining in same class. Super will create constructor chaining among super class. So how you want to do chaining, you do. So just I've given you a simple example here. Understood? Again, do not create too many conflicts. Especially conflicts with superclass instance variables and subclass instance variables is never done. Especially. Understood? You never create conflicts with local variables. Conflict will go on happening. We never create conflicts with superclass instance variables and subclass instance variables. Understood? No? You should not do it. You will get confusion later. So both see similarities. Both are doing chaining. Difference is this will do chaining among constructors of same class. Super will do chaining among constructors of super class. You can combine both. You can see what all I have done. I have done maximum level of permutation and combination here. Understood? And now in B class, if you want to print all the values, example, I am writing one M1, M2 method I will write. How you print all the values? SOP X I can print directly. I don't have to use this dot X because there is no conflict in M2 method. Current X I can print what? Directly X, or this dot X also I can tell. I can print all the 6. Super dot X also I can print. Yes or no? Similarly Y I can print. SOP Y. What will it print? Local I. SOP super dot Y. Similarly SOP Z. SOP M. All the 6 values I can access in the method. Check out. All the 6 values I can access in the method. But in constructor there was problem. Why? There was conflict with local variables. Here it was mandatory for you to access this keyword. But here it is not mandatory for you to access this keyword because there is no conflict in local variables. Generally this keyword will be used to resolve conflict between, remember the point, this keyword is used to resolve conflict always between local variables and instance variables. But super keyword is always used to resolve conflict between two things. Superclass instance variable and subclass instance variable or local variable. Understood? Super keyword will always refer to superclass, but it is used to resolve conflict between superclass instance variable and subclass instance variable or subclass local variable. So this is how it will go on now. Are you clear with this? Okay, you can type this and try now. Again, this conflicted things we don't do. Again, I will not show you this. If you want, you can type and see. If you have question, tomorrow I will type and show you. But definitely do not bother about this. I am telling you, this many conflicts we don't create. But if at all you want creating, it will be confusing not only for you, for others also. So don't create. But since this is a part of SCJP exam, I have covered it. SCJP exam, these questions will come out. Understood? Chaining and all will come out. So you can do constructor chaining in 2 ways now. Finally we will summarize now. What is the summary now? What is the summary? Summary is okay, both are super and this both are used for doing similarity, both are used for doing chaining. But difference now, similarities both are used for chaining. But difference is this will do the chaining in constructors of same class, super will do chaining among constructors of super class. Okay, you can use both, and both should be used in the first line. So you cannot use both in the same constructor. Both should be used in the first line. So you cannot use both in the same constructor. Okay, and one constructor gets only one chance to invoke a constructor. Either one it can invoke, either of the same class or of super class. See, this second constructor decided to invoke constructor in the same class. The first constructor decides to invoke the constructor of superclass. Only one. Again and again they will not allow you to call. Why? It would have been a problem. Problem means what? Overwriting will start off. Overwriting starts off, finally you will never end up. Okay, it will become full recursive. This calling that calling this calling that, full recursive and full confusion will start off. That's why they are not allowing only. Okay, and finally they have made it as a compilation error. If you try to use it in second line, they will not allow you. Understood? So this is how it is happening. Clear? Any questions? Shall I clear all this?
Both of x, y will have same value, no?
Huh?
Both classes x, y will have same value, no?
Yes.
Yeah, same value. Finally, if you see the value of x and y, here will be 5, 6. Here also it will be 5. Here also it will be 6, 7, 8. Values will be same.
So if you want to give different values, then
Now what should I do?
6 parameters.
What should I do? You tell.
6 parameters.
Send 6 parameters, man. All this I have to teach you. Yes or no? I am teaching you clearly. If at all you want to give 6 values, use 6 parameters. If at all you want to give to same value to that one, use 4. I told you this example I am creating it just for the purpose of creating conflicts. This example I told you just I want to show conflicts. Okay, if at all you want to really give different values, then have 6 parameters here. And now it's your approach. How will you send the values to superclass? Which value will you send? And how will you initialize is your approach. These things you should do now. Getting it now? These things you should be able to do now. We have covered so much of inheritance. And you should be able to do this. Clear? Any other questions? No? Okay. So we'll move with super with methods now. The last one, super with variables over, super with constructors over. Okay, now we have to see super with methods. Clear? Shall I clear all this? See, if you want 6 parameters, do this. Int, 2 more you add, p, q, send, do whatever you want. Clear? You should start thinking for the solutions now. Should start thinking, if I want to do that, how will I do? You have to learn the language. You have to learn the language now. If I want to do that, how will I do? You should start getting solutions now. Rather than more asking questions, you should start applying what? Brains and logics. And start thinking now, how will I do that? How will I do that? Okay, this is the only data type where we have confusion. Once I complete this, rest 2 data types are very simple. Which one? Abstract class and interface. They are very simple. See, from now I start writing clear classes, subclasses, how we actually write. Okay, how we actually write, I'll start saying now. So this is one class now. So see, we already seen this. I'm just taking the first example what you saw. First example of inheritance, what you saw, I'm taking that. So class A is there. Okay. So how elegantly class A has been written, see, x and y are 2 instance variables, there is one constructor, the constructor is taking full measures to initialize both the instance variables, there is conflict, I have resolved it with the help of this keyword. Fine. Now, I want to write class B. Done? 1 second, instead of show method, I'll write M1 method, just time being I'll write M1 method. M1. Or once, let it be shown. Okay, in class B what I'll do, I want an extra variable. Definitely will not create conflicts, man. Remember that. You don't have to worry too much about conflicts. Definitely will not create conflicts, especially with variables. XY is there now, I want another variable now. Definitely I'll go for what? A new variable name only. Okay, This is with experience I'm telling you. Okay. But in inheritance, that conflict might arise. In oops it might arise, and Java is giving you a solution to that problem. But as developers, we don't create conflicts. So here what will happen now? In B constructor, I should get how many values? 3. Yes, where is the conflict now? Conflict is there between local variable and superclass instance variable. Yes, it is there. But I will not access it. Instead, what will I do? I will send the values to the superclass constructor. Valid now. If I access it, I will say super.x is equal to x, super.y is equal to z, y, this dot z is equal to z. But we will not write like that. Because you are redundantly writing the same code again and again. One option would have been what? Super.x is equal to x, super.y is equal to y. You could have done it. We will not do it. This is the better way of writing. Now there is conflict between this and this, which one? Z and z. So now what will I do? This dot z is equal to z. Valid. Now here I will write one more method, void show. Now I am showing you how to write methods in subclass. Now I am showing you how to write methods in subclass. Once again, let me change the method name to. You have seen the first example now. Show xy. Let us make the method name as show xy. This method name I change it to show z. So I am showing you how to write methods in subclass now. Slowly I start. Value of z is plus z. If I want, I can call the method of superclass. How will I call? Show xy also I can call. This is one way I can call. Correct only, 1 second. Or I can say super dot show xy, and it can be used in any line. You can call the method in any line. See, I am here saying super dot show xy. Here I called show xy. Here I am calling super dot show xy. Only in constructor super should be the first line. When you are accessing variables or method, it can be in any line. Okay, then last SOP, value of z is plus z. Here am I using this dot z? No, why? There is no conflict. Here I have to use this dot z. Why? There is conflict. Here, no conflict. Okay, let's see the code now. Let's work with directly B object, or we will see one with A and then one with this one. A PSVM public static void main. A is equal to new A of what? I give values as 1 and 2. An object of what is getting created? A. So an object of A is created. What happens? You are having x, y, A, int x, int y. This dot x is the same code will come into existence. This dot y is equal to y, void show xy. Value of x and y is, okay, I can print plus x plus y. So A object has got created, new memory will be allocated. Now which constructor gets executed? A constructor. What are the values passed? 1 and 2. So it is given to x and y. X and y, what it will do? It will initialize the instance variables 1 and 2, and the address of this object is given to A, and I can call the method a dot show xy, but see, I can access all the members. Remember that. A dot x also I can print. SOP. Don't think I am printing. See, I am accessing a dot x I can access, a dot show xy I can access, a dot y I can access. All things can be done. Okay, if I want to print value of x and y, I can call show xy. But I am showing you we can access x also, y also. All you can access. So 3 members are there which you can access after creating the superclass object. So A is a superclass object. This is a superclass object. Now this here is a superclass reference variable. Superclass variable is referring to superclass object. Getting it now? Some new words I am introducing. Superclass reference variable is referring to superclass object, and from that object what members you can access? All the members of superclass you can access. Okay, by chance example I am telling you, a dot m1, if I try to access, what will happen? You will get error. It is not there. M1 method is not there, and you get this error during compilation time. The compiler tells you are using the data type wrongly. Use it properly. Understood? So what members you can access from the object always depends on what? The type of variable. Okay, when you have an object, when you have a variable now, if you try to access a non-member, that error is reported during compilation time. Non-member. Okay, you know what are non-members now? Okay, M1 is not at all a member there, forget. M1 is not at all a member there, it is not there, so you cannot access it. Are you clear? So your object and variable should what you'll create the object, you'll be referring it with a variable. What members you can access from the object? What is the question? Remember, what members you can access from the object depends on what? The type of reference variable. If A is a variable of type some class, then you can access those members. Yeah, fine. This is done. Now, why I told that point, now you will not understand. Later you will understand. So, what members you can access from the object always depend on what? Type of reference variable. Okay, just get that point now. B is equal to new B. 5, 6, 7. I am creating which object this time? B object. So, what are the members of B? So, you know the whole members, the whole lot of it comes into existence. Int X, int Y. Then you'll have show XY. Then you'll have Z. Then you'll have constructor int X, int Y, int Z. See, all the code will come into existence, man. Whatever is there here will come into existence. There is no doubt about that. New, fully for B disallocating memory. And in this memory, which constructor will be called? This B object. So you are creating which object? B object means which object? Subclass object. You are creating subclass object. B is a subclass object. So this is a subclass object. Subclass object will have what? All members. Superclass members plus subclass members. And we are invoking the subclass constructor. While creating the subclass object, I am invoking what? Subclass constructor. And I am sending 5, 6, 7 are the arguments. They are given to the parameters x, y, z. What will the subclass constructor do? It invokes the superclass constructor. Yes or no? It sends the value. What will the superclass constructor do? It initializes the instance variables present here by invoking it. So what is the value? X will be 5, y will be 6. Z, it will come back and the value of z will be initialized to what? 7. Perfect. And now let's see what all you can access. See, now B is a variable of type subclass, and from B I can access using B variable. The address is given to B now. Using B you can access all the members of subclass. What are all the members of subclass? Superclass members plus subclass members, both you can access. So check how I am accessing. SOP B.X valid. So what members you can access from the object depends on what? The type of variable. It is there I can access B.Y, B.Z. But the same, if I try to access a variable called as B.T, is it there? What will happen? Error. When? Compilation time. You try to access a variable or a method. If it is there, it will access now. If it is not there, from where it will access? Understood? So B can access, this B variable can access only what? The members present in class B. This A variable can access only members present in class A. Understood? Which member you can access from that depends on what? On the variable type. What members you can access from the object always depends on the type of variable. So B.T, it's error. Just I wrote it. Why I am writing it slowly, you'll understand. Okay, in the coming examples you'll understand. What members you can access from the object always depends on what? The type of variable, reference variable. Understood? What members you can access from the object always depends on the type of reference variable used. Okay, get that point very clearly. Anyway, I accessed X, I accessed Y, I accessed Z from B object. If I want, I can access B.show XY valid. What will B.show XY print? Value of X and Y. SOP X and Y it will print. B.show Z, what it will print? Okay, if you are calling XY, it will execute that also and it will print SOP. If you are calling XY, super.show XY or only XY, it will invoke that also, plus it will print this one. But B.show Z I can call. Are you clear with all this? So how many members you accessed? But if I say B.M1 error, no, M1 is not there. So what members you can access from the object always depends on what? The type of variable, and this error will be reported at compilation time. Okay, just check this. Why am I highlighting that? You'll understand later. So anyway, which are the members you can access now? X, Y, Z. Show XY, show Z. Yes or no? Perfect. Till now clear? This was the first example what I had written in inheritance. Okay, now what I'll do is, one small change I'll do, both the method names, I'll make it same. Both the method names. The name of this method is also shown, the name of this method is also shown. So look at both the method names. What is the, say, you understand like this now. Class A is having one show method. Class A is having one show method. Understood? Now class B, you are writing a subclass now. When you are writing the subclass, you are interested in writing a method. When you are writing the method, you can give a different method name, like what you are doing. If there was M1 here, you are writing M2. Some other method name you are writing. But it is possible to go with the same name now. There is conflict with methods this time. There is going to be a conflict with methods this time. Are you following now? So this is where it starts off. This concept is called as overriding. This concept is actually technically in Java called as overriding. I'll be explaining what is method overriding. It starts off here. Method overriding starts off here. So it is possible to have a conflicted method in the subclass. See, I have written class A. You are the person who is writing class B. Why? You wanted extra members. So you are writing extra members, you will write the variable, you write the constructor. Now we are learning how to write methods. So you are writing a method, there is an option for you to have the method with same name. If you compile, it will compile. Why it will compile, you know? Scope is different. You can have conflict with methods because this show is belonging to class A, this show is belonging to class B. See the scope. It's completely different and it is possible. Now, when there is conflict, now very interesting. Earlier you could have called both the methods from what? B. Understood? Earlier you could have called both the methods. But now means you could have called b dot show xy also when the method names were different. And you could have called b dot show z also. But now that is not the case. What is the case? B dot show. There is only one method. Now which method gets executed? You tell me now. Huh? Now both the method names are what? Show. The one in subclass gets the preference. And I can never invoke the show of class A from what? B object. Same like variable. B dot x means which one it was picking? The one from subclass. Same here b dot show means it will execute the one in subclass. You can never invoke the show from what? Here. But if at all you want to call the show from show in A to be executed, then you have to come to subclass, and in subclass you have to call show method. But this time if I say only show here, what will happen? B dot show, it will call this one. But if you call show here, it will become recursive. So you are forced to use super dot show here. See, till now calling the superclass, when you wanted to call the superclass method, using super was optional. But now it is becoming mandatory. Okay, why it was optional till now? Because there is no conflict between method of superclass and subclass. Earlier I was calling, now was I calling? When the method name was different here, show xy, how did I call? Super dot show xy, or only show xy. Earlier it was show xy, no? What was the method name? Show xy. So how are you calling it here? In show z, how are you calling? Super dot show xy, or I can say show xy, because there is no conflict. But when you say show, what will happen? No, it will give preference to local one only. When it gives preference to local one, it tries to call the same method. But I don't want to call the local method. I want to call which one? The method of superclass. Now it becomes highly mandatory for you to use super keyword. First understand this concept. And method overriding is a big subject. We require minimum 10 days to understand what? Overriding. Overriding is a vast subject. Understood? So this is how it happens. So b dot show, what happens when you call now? It will invoke the method in subclass. The subclass method will invoke the method of superclass. This is how it will happen now. But you have to compulsory say this time super dot show. If you don't say b dot show, preference is given locally. Okay. And the super dot show, what it will do? It will invoke the method of superclass. And if I remove super, if I don't use super, it becomes recursive. It will keep calling itself. Understood now? So super can be used with what now? Methods. And generally super keyword will not be used in other methods. Super keyword will always be used in overridden methods. Super keyword will always used in overridden methods to invoke the method of superclass. Now why all this? It might be looking confusing to you. Actually, if I explain to you technically, it is very simple. There is no confusion here. Very simple, I will tell you now. What happens? See, generally what happens, in the superclass we'll have a method. I am telling you now why we, see what is overriding first of all. What is overriding? That I will tell first. Overriding means having the same method name in subclass. Everything same, ditto to ditto. Name, parameters, parameter list, and return type. Ditto to ditto it should be. Show, see, show, no parameter, return type void, return type void. Ditto to ditto it is called as overriding. So the name, the parameter list, and the return type, if they are same, then you said the method is overridden. And overriding can be done only in subclasses. Overriding cannot be done in what? Same class. Why? Can I write one more show in class? Why? Why? All stupid answers only. One word to this answer, scope. How many times should I teach you scope now? In one scope you cannot declare anything twice, as simple as that. You are understanding scope now? How many times should I teach you now? See, in this scope, int a is equal to 5, I can use it 1000 times. A is equal to 6, a is equal to 7, SOP, a, all that I can do. But again if I try to say a is equal to 7, error. You can declare anything only once in one scope. Same with what? Method also. You have declared show method in class A, one scope. Again how will you declare one more? So anything you declare should be declared only once in one scope. You declare it in class B, that is another scope. So overriding is not possible in the same class. Understood? It is always done in subclasses only. Okay. Now why you do overriding? Next question will come. You understood what's overriding? What is overriding first of all? Having same method name. That is called as overriding. Now why did you override? You could have given a different name, no? Like till now what we are doing. Did I ever create conflicts in method names in subclass? No. Today why did I do? Okay. It is a very simple answer. Why we do overriding means, see, generally, okay, there is a next topic which I will start. Big topic, it is overriding. Just little overview I am giving you here. Generally what happens when I write a class, I have written this class. Okay, you are happy with all the logic here. But you want to change the logic in which method, you know? Show method. You want to change the logic. You don't like the logic in the method now. Which method? Show. You want to change the logic. But is it possible for you to come and modify my class and remove this code and write your new code? No, because others are comfortable in using this class. It is only you who are not interested in the logic of this method. One is you might not be interested, or two is you want to add extra logic. There will be two possibilities. One, some logic is there. You don't want the logic completely is one requirement. Or one more thing is, this logic you need plus extra logic you need. Two conditions will come. You do not want the logic in that method, or you want that logic plus extra logic. You do not want means can you remove this and write new logic? That is wrong. You are not supposed to touch anybody's code. Okay, you want extra logic means what? Can I go and write some extra lines of code here? That should not happen. You should not modify at any cost. That is why what we do, in subclass, we override. If you do not want that logic, very simple, don't call super.show, finished. Now b is equal to new b, call b.show, which one will get executed? Your logic is getting executed. That is what you wanted, no? You didn't want that logic to be executed at any cost. You're stopping it now. But if I give a different name, what happens? Both can be called, no? If I give it a show x y and show, what will happen? Show z. b.show xy also I can call. b.show z also I can call. But my requirement is what? I do not want the logic of superclass to be executed at any cost. I don't want that to be executed. So that was my requirement. So that is why what did I do? I override. Now at any given point of time this will not execute. That is nothing but equivalent to what? Changing logic. It is nothing but equivalent to changing logic. This will not execute only and your logic will execute. Okay. But tomorrow if anybody wants to use this logic, what will they do? They will create object of A, as simple as that. If you create A object, this show gets executed. If you create B object, this logic will execute. Very simple, you didn't modify only. but still you are getting the required output. You are getting all the, see, you are getting access to all members of A class. Which one? X, Y. It's coming from where? Super class. But sure, from your class. You can never call it. So this is how you can change logic. One more is adding logic. Adding logic means what? See, some logic is there. I want to add some extra logic. Finished. You call B dot show. First, which method will be called? The superclass method. See, now where you want to add the logic, you decide. First you want that logic to execute, and then your logic, then call that method first. So first, that's nothing but adding logic. Or you want first your logic to be executed, and then that logic, then call super dot show in the second line, over, or last line. So that's nothing but adding logic. Both will execute now. But we have achieved this without touching that method of superclass. Perfect. But if I don't override, then it would have been a problem. If I want to add logic, what should I do now? If I don't override and give different method names, I should call both the methods now. Yes or no? But now I'm not doing that. Just I'll call only one method. Which one is easier now? To add logic, calling two methods is good. Huh? To add logic, calling only one method is better now. So B dot show means it will call the one in subclass. Subclass method will call the method of superclass. That is adding logic. Okay, so we are entering now to how to write methods in subclass now. And method is a big concept. We have struggled how to write methods in a simple class. Now the same story will continue to know how to write methods in subclass data type also. We have learned how to write methods now. When you are writing a class, did you find the writing instance variable difficult or constructor difficult? Class data type. The previous data type, which one? Class data type, we learned very comfortably which one? Instance variables and constructor. Methods we struggled. Overloading, return type, parameters, all that we struggled. Same story will start here, but not to that extent. Okay, so it will be a little less. But we learn how to write methods in subclass data types. Okay, so there are multiple options you are having. When you want to write a method in subclass, one, you can write a completely new method name. Two, you can override. Three, third option is, see here. Now, I want to write a method. Okay, so now, what is this? This is overloading. You can overload methods in subclass. Now you call B dot show. Which one will get executed, you know? The one of superclass. You send a parameter. Which one will get executed? Subclass. There are two different methods. B dot show from superclass, B dot show of 5 from subclass it will execute. Perfect. So this is overloading. So I got three options for writing a method in a subclass. One, you can write a completely new method. Two, you can override a method. Three, you can write a overloaded method. So overloading is possible in same class and subclass. Understood? Overloading is possible in same class and subclass. Overloading is possible. So now why you overload in subclass, that also we'll discuss. But have you understood super first? I'm not concentrating on overriding here. Okay, I'm concentrating on super. We'll finish super and go to overriding now. So they go hand in hand. Super and overriding go hand in hand. So generally super keyword will always be used in overridden methods. Understood? You should not use it in other methods. Like you call M2, M2 was calling M1, no? Don't do that. Because see, if you call M2, the logic of M1 is also getting executed. Nothing but what? That meaning is nothing but adding logic. If you call M2, M2 will call M1 now. See, I have M1 method here in superclass. I have M2 method here in subclass. Okay. So in M2, if I call M1, the method of superclass will definitely execute. But that is equivalent to what? Adding logic. So if you want to add logic, don't write a new method. Write a overridden method. So that's what is the next topic I'll be teaching you, how to write methods in subclass. That's the next topic. Okay. So I know a lot of doubts will come here. You don't have to worry because we are entering a very big new world of programming now, that is overriding. And overriding you neglect so much, but that's the key to your future life. You want to survive in Java, you should understand overriding properly. Okay, because throughout your life you do only one thing in your life: override, override, override. Okay, it's a big subject, vast subject. Vast means vast. Okay, and every day from now I'll be overriding only. Okay, every day from now we'll start off overriding. It's a very vast subject. you'll get the grip of override. Initially it will start understanding. Okay, but the perfect grip you will get it after some many days itself. Understood? So it will start off. Anyway, just I was introducing you, all this you forget now. Super keyword is used what now? To summarize this particular thing. Super keyword is used in, can be used in, super keyword can be used in subclass to access method of superclass. That's all. I'll complete it now. I'll be explaining what? Overriding next. That's the next topic. Okay, but super keyword can be used in subclass methods to invoke methods of superclass. Clear? You can use it in any method, but generally we use it in overridden methods. Generally. Why? It is equivalent to adding logic. Are you clear with this? Do you have any questions here? I know plenty of questions are there. You don't have to worry. I'll be clearing it one by one now. Because why you're getting doubts is you don't know how to write methods in subclass. That's the only reason. The reason why you're getting doubts now is you don't know, you're not believing. I don't know how to write a method means you'll not believe. But we write methods in subclass in a technical way, which I'll start explaining you next. So I'll show this output to you. Okay, and remember, criteria for overriding is object. We have to compare two things now. One is overloading, one is overriding. What is the difference between the two? When you do overloading, when you do overriding. So all this we have to compare. Okay, but overloading is simple. Okay, but criteria for overloading is what? So you know overloading. What is overloading? It differs in parameter list. Either number or order or data type. Okay, but in overriding what happens? Means how do you identify which one is overloaded, which one is overridden? If the parameter list is same, it is overloaded. If the parameter list is different, name is same, overloaded. If the parameter list is same, method name is same, return type is same, it is overridden. Overriding we say. Okay, so that is overloading and that is overriding. But next questions will come out. When do you overload? Where do you overload? Why do you overload? What is the advantage of doing it? Plenty of questions which will come. Okay, and what is static polymorphism? What is dynamic polymorphism? So many questions will come out now. Okay, this is the key now. We'll start off. So do you have any questions here? Deliberately, that's why I was teaching you. What I was introducing your method step by step. In the meantime, you remember that. If I want to call M1 of superclass, what will I do in subclass? Directly I can call. Or super.m1 I can call. Or I could have told b.m1 also, p.m2 also. Both I can call outside the class. But if it is overridden, preference is given to what? Only subclass, local. Only local. Okay, we'll see this output. Then we'll continue with how to write methods in subclass data type. That's a big subject. Big. Clear? See, from now the real topics of Java are starting. Okay, or oops rather, not Java, you can say oops. Oops, terrific concepts will open up now. Be comfortable with all the basics because we'll start applying now. This is one example only you practice. See here, it is mandatory to use this keyword now. And here I can use my own method. I can use any method name, but just I'll be going with show xy this time, and it'll print both the values. See, how will you print value of xy? Value of x and y is plus x plus y. There is no conflict in method, but if you are interested, you could have used which keyword? This keyword also. Both are correct, nothing wrong. Done. This dot x and this dot y, both you can use. So now first I show you how to work with class A. A is equal to new A. I will pass the values 10, 20. Any values you want, you pass. That's your wish. And after passing, I can print value of x and y is plus a dot x plus a dot y. X and y in main I'll print. You can print more statements here inside xy. Okay, this is your class. Now I can access xy in the same class. I can access it outside the class. Okay, so I'm accessing x and y in the same place, or if you want, you can access it differently. Value of x in main is, see, look, I'm accessing all the members. Value of y in main is plus a dot y, or I can access a dot show xy. First check out how you are working with A object, then we'll work with B object. Any questions here? Any questions here? So with A object I can access what? All the members. But chance, if I try to print, what is that? By chance. I used one statement when I was teaching you all this. What members you can access from the object depends on what? The type of variable. Is P present in the object? No, it is not there. Means is P present in class A? Is P present in class A? No. Then you are trying to access it, no? So what happens? It will get compilation error. Check this. P is not found. Or you try to call a method which is not there. A dot m1. So what members, remember the statement, what members you can access from the object depends on the variable type, reference variable type. A, I'm using A to access m1, but A is a variable of type what? Class A. So A variable knows everything about class A. Understood? So A variable knows. So only those members it will allow you to access. A variable knows what members are there in class A. So what members can be accessed from the object depends on the type of reference variable. Reference variable knows what are the different members. So what members can be accessed, it only knows, and it will only give the compilation error now. Okay, so both will be error. Just see this. Are you clear with this? This topic will open up now big. Now it looks very simple, silly it looks, that anybody can tell. Correct? What is the big thing about it? Next you'll understand how important it is. So I'll remove anyway these two. Just I told you what that statement I explained to you. So fine, now everything is normal. You can work, no issues. But now see, there's a class A. But now somebody is interested in class A, like you. You want all the members, plus you want what? Extra members. So you'll write the extra members. What are the extra members you'll write? Let's see now. One is, you'll write, to add the extra members, you will reuse the functionality of A in B now. Okay, extends, you'll tell now. You want to add extra members. Why do you want to write the extra logic again here? So you reuse the functionality by extending. Then here you can write your constructor. See, here is the extra member you are writing. So what is the extra member you are writing? Z. When you write extra variable, so it is your duty to initialize all the variables now. So I will initialize all the variables. So I will write a constructor now. So the person who writes a subclass will definitely write what? Constructor. He has to write. Understood? So he will write. And how will he initialize now? Means you actually super of x comma y. These are arguments. Here x and y are parameters. Here they become arguments. And now here I'll have a method called as show z. This dot z is equal to z. Fine. We are doing all this. Fine. Show z is the method. Inside which method now? Show z method. And value of, see, I can print x and y also. There's no issue. Or I can call which method? I can do this, or I can call show. For printing the value, you could have called the method of superclass only. It is highly valid. But you should not call superclass method in any subclass methods. This is wrong. Technically it goes wrong. Okay. Logically it will execute. But technically we say it is, logically it is correct. Technically it is incorrect. Okay, you want to know the difference between logical and technical? Wait till tomorrow. Understood? So then logically it is correct, it will execute. But technically it is incorrect. We should not call it. Okay, but till now I had done it. I know that. But I was only showing you how a subclass method can invoke a method of superclass. That was my intention. You can call it in both ways. So one you can do like this, or you can say only show xy. This is valid. And then you can print value of z is. How you print value of z is? Directly you can print z, or you can print what? This dot z. Here also x and y, how will you print? Directly x and y, or you can say super dot x, super dot y. There is no conflict. So if it is optional to use this or super here. Are you clear with this? So these are the two statements what we have to worry now. Which one? See, these two it will happen. You can access x and y. But we are worried more about these two methods. Understood? But I'll call those methods later. Okay, we'll call it off, no problem. Or I think 1 second. I'll call it later. I'll call it later. 1 second. Now we'll not work with A object, we'll work with B object. See, B also can access all the members, no doubt about it. Say B is equal to new B, I'll give the values 5, 6, 7. So see this, value of x and y is, I can access all. B dot x, B dot y, B dot show xy, I can access even z also. All the members I can access with B. B dot show xy, B dot show z, all I can access. See this? And in show z I have not done anything. I have still not called. Which one? Show xy. I have still not called. So simple, it will execute. Both will be executed. So B dot show xy, this is the output. B dot show z, this is the output. Are you clear? Are you clear with the output of show xy and show z? Look at show z. In show z I am accessing x and y, value of z, both it is printing. Clear? Okay. If I want, this also I can do. I am calling show xy twice. Notice, show z will call show xy twice. One with super keyword, one without super keyword. Valid. All this is valid. But you should not call it like this. Even though it works. Okay, logically you are getting the output. Technically, we should not do this. Understood? Why? Okay, that explanation I will be giving you tomorrow. Fine. But now, this is giving a different method name. So you wrote a subclass. When you wrote a subclass, you added an extra variable. You added a constructor. And you have written a method. When you wrote the method, you gave a different name to it. Yes or no? But you have an option of what? Giving the same name now. That I am changing. See this now. Inside which method? Show method of class B. Valid? So here also I'll change e dot show. So what happens now? Inside show method of class A. Done? So it is done. So then, yeah, now I cannot call super dot show xy. I have to call what? Okay, we're calling, we'll see later. Okay, so I'm overriding now. What is overriding now? So ditto to ditto same, see there? Name, return type, parameter in class A, and name, return type and parameter in class B is also same. So it's done. Now I'll say BB is equal to new B dot show. You call it 1,000 times also. Which one will be executed? The one in class B, subclass only. See, inside show method of class B, inside show method of class B. I called it twice. That's why. Or you call it only once. Means it will not call, you cannot call it simple as this. You cannot call the method of show. Means when you create subclass object and if you are overriding, preference is given to what? The subclass method only. You cannot call it now. In another class. Demo is another class. You cannot call it now. So due to that problem, if at all I want to call, you can call it here. Super dot show. You can call it in any line. Deliberately I am writing it in last line. Deliberately. But here methods also are called in first line. Just I am telling you. Why? You want to add logic means what? First that logic should execute and then your logic should execute. No? It's common sense now. So generally even the methods will be called in first line. But for demo purpose I am showing you, I am calling it in last line. Means variables and methods can be accessed in any line. Constructor should be accessed in the first line. That's what is the difference. So now see, super dot show. Yes, it's perfectly calling show method of what? Class A. But who called it? The one in subclass. Are you clear? This is how it works. Now why are you doing this? Means why are you overriding this here? You don't have, you want to add extra logic means now you don't have to remember two method names. Why do you override? Because you want to add extra logic. For adding extra logic, you write a new method. What will happen? You have to call the first method of superclass and then you have to call the method of subclass. Two methods you have to call, like b dot show xy and b dot show z. But now that's not happening. You are only calling the method of what? Subclass, and automatically it will only invoke the method of superclass. It reduces what? Complexity. Overriding is also done for what? Reusing and avoiding complexity only. But how? More examples I'll give and you'll understand. Okay, this is done. So anyway, if I don't call it, what will happen? If I don't call it, what will happen? The logic of subclass gets executed. Yes, I do not want the logic of superclass to execute. That's what is happening. I do not want the logic of superclass to execute now. So that is why you override. Can I call the superclass method? No. So when you are writing a subclass, sometimes you do not want the logic of superclass. That time you can hide it like this. Okay, but hiding means you didn't modify there. It was written in subclass. So this is how it happens. Are you clear? Okay. But see now, if I want, I can overload. This is overloading. Int z, and I can print. Okay, int p I'll write. And using p is your wish, but just I'm showing you how you overload. And now you can call both the methods. Which one you will call? See, b dot show, from where it gets executed, you know, superclass. B dot show, from where it got executed this time? Superclass. Okay, but if I send a value, see, this was the one. Till now it was executing from subclass, but now it is executing from what? Superclass. But if I say b dot show and pass a value 4, now it will execute from subclass. It's up to you. There are two show methods. So anyway, just you understand, super can be used where now? In subclass methods to invoke the methods of generally in overridden methods it will be done. Yeah, this is overriding b dot show. This is wrong. Overriding. Okay, now just you can write on pointer. This point you can write. What does that means? Super to access method. Super is used to access the method of. See, we have seen super with what? Variables. We have seen super with constructor. The last one now we are seeing super with methods. Super key is used to access the method of superclass in overridden method of subclass. You can use it in any other method, but generally we always call it in overridden method. The superclass method is generally invoked in subclass method for adding extra logic to the method of superclass without actually modifying it. You want to add logic now, that time you will do this. So now I'll just give you a faint idea, but more examples we'll be seeing on overriding, that's in the next class. Okay, just to give you a faint idea, and we'll be seeing how to write methods in subclasses. That's from tomorrow, we'll start off. I've shown you how to write variables in subclass. I've shown you how to write constructors. Now next what I'll be teaching is how to write methods in subclass. Understood? We have written methods, but technically we'll start seeing how do you write methods. Yeah? See, if you have a class, superclass, in subclass, see, I might have one method here, void m1. Logic, don't worry, just see the skeleton of it. You're having two methods. Sometimes there'll be a scenario, you want both the methods. Okay, see now how do you write method? I'm only concentrating on methods this time. I'm not talking about variables and constructor. So what happens, when you write, you want all the members plus some extra logic. Means when class is there now. Class is there. Okay, but you want to modify it. Modifying means what? Adding extra logic or changing extra logic. Anything can happen. Modification of a class means adding an extra logic or changing an existing logic. Anything can happen. Understood? That is what you mean by modifying a class. So class A is there and you want to modify this class. And modification means two things. Adding extra logic or changing existing logic. Any of these two can happen. And let's see how you do this. Okay, this is class A now. Okay, so what will I do now? To change it, I can say class B extends A. One option would be, see this is one option for you. You want to write completely new logic. Completely new logic. You want those two logic. You want the logic of M1. You want the logic of M2. Plus you want full new logic. So when you want to write completely new logic, that time you will write void a new method name. So for writing completely new logic, you write a new method. Understood now? So topic is this, solution is what? This is the problem. Problem number 1. Problem number is 1 is, I want to write a completely new logic. So that time what will I do? Solution for this problem is what? SYLN, solution. For that is what? Write a new method. Now see, B is equal to new B. If I create an object, I can call all the three methods now. B.M1, B.M2 and B.M3. This tomorrow I'll type and show it to you very clearly. We'll see this with example. Just I'm concluding the class how you write methods in subclass. Understood? So I can call all the three. If I don't want M3 logic, I'll create object of which one? A. You have both the options. Okay, see you are not modifying class A, but still you are able to achieve modification. How you are able to achieve modification? Through the help of subclass data type. Subclass data type is helping you actually what? Modify existing code. Understood? See, A is equal to new A. You will have only two methods to execute. So the users will decide. If they want only two methods, they'll create an object of A. A.M1, A.M2. Only that much they'll create and that much they'll execute. Now if they want all the code, what they'll do? B is equal to new B. Valid. They can call all the three. So when there are two classes, you have an option now. Either to create an object of A or to create an object of B. But we didn't modify anything in class A. Brilliant now. See what a support you are getting. Okay. So fine. Now another problem I'll take now. I want to write a new logic but which is similar. See, I want both the logic of M1 and M2. Now I want to write a logic which is similar to M1. I want to write similar logic to M1. Similarity, the functionality is same. Understood? The functionality of, I want to write one more new logic now, but not here. I cannot write. If I want, I can overload here. Generally when the functionality is same, what do you do? Overload. Okay. See, all these changes I could have done in the same class. Now if I want all the, see one more thing, just let us rewind back 2 minutes. See this. When class A is there, if I want both the logic plus new logic, M3 could have been written in the same class now. It could have been written in the same class now, but I didn't do it. Why? Because you are not supposed to modify anybody's code. If I want, I could have written M3 in the same class, but we don't do it. What we do, I want both the methods plus extra method. So you should not write this extra method in the same class. So that's when we extend and write the new method in the subclass. One more problem now. What is the other problem? I want to write a new method. Okay, but the functionality of that is similar to M1 method. Assume like that. The functionality, the logic, okay, is similar to the logic of M1 method. So now this time when functionality is same, we have to overload. Now I will write on overloaded method now, but can I write that overloaded method in class A? You should not write. Again, you should not modify. That is when what we do. See the problem number 2. What is the problem number 2? Same logic, new method with same logic I want. Yes or no? I want a new method with same logic. Solution is what? Solution for that would be overload and write a new method. But not in the same class. You are doing all this where? Subclass. See now I'll do void m1 int a. This is overloading now. Now create your object. bb is equal to new b. How many methods you can call? 4 methods. bb is equal to new b. What all methods you can call? b dot m1. See this is b object. What are the methods of b now? m1 is there, m2 is there. These are the methods of which class? A class. Then m1 is there, sorry, m3 is there, m1 is there, int a. Correct? Huh? These are all the methods of which class now? B class. So you are having m3, then you are having m1 int a, and this is b object now. b dot m1, what it will do? It will first see the method how it gets executed is first the method is checked in subclass. If the method is not there in subclass, then because preference is given to subclass first, it will check for m1 in subclass. If it is not there, it will look for the method in superclass and execute. Okay, b dot m2, again it will check in subclass. It is not there. If it is not there, from where it will execute? Superclass. Correct. b dot m1 with 5, where it checks? Subclass, finds it, execute. So, but I can call all the 4 methods now. Which is the other one? M3. b dot m3, can I call? Yes. Understood? So from here it will checks in subclass, it will execute. But I can, through b, I can call all the 4 methods now. That is what you wanted now. These were your problems. And you got the solution. Yes? Now the final problem. I do not want the logic of M2 method. I do not want. See, here is, this is for second problem. Now the third problem what we are facing now. I do not want the logic of M2 method. See when I say b dot m2, which method is getting executed? The one of superclass now? Either the option can be I do not want the logic of M2 to execute, or I want extra logic in M2 now. Some extra logic. Either of these two things can happen. So that is when we override. So overriding is always done for what you know? Adding or changing logic. And these are the 3 options you have got to write a method in subclass. Anytime you write a method in subclass, it will fall under these 3 category only. You only think. If at all you want to write a method, these are your 3 problems. What is the problem number 3? Add or change logic to existing method of a class. Existing method of a class. What will you do now? Solution. What is the solution? Override. As simple as this. So void m2. What am I doing now? Is overriding now. So bb is equal to new b. Now how many methods are there when you create b object? How many methods are there? 5 methods. But I can call only 4. There are 5, but I can now call only 4. Which one will be executed? The one of subclass. And now calling super.m2 here is optional. See, this is I am overriding m2. If you are interested, call super.m2. Else leave it. If you call it, what is the thing which will happen? Adding the logic. If you don't call it, what will happen? Changing the logic. As simple as this. But see, I can call super.m1 here also, or super.m2 I can also call. But don't do all this. Generally, super will be used in overridden methods. Clear? So these are the 3 problems, and Java is giving you brilliant solutions for your problem. Either it says write a new method, or you overload a method, or you write a new method. So this is how you write subclass data types. You know how to write a variable, you know how to write a constructor now. Once you write a variable, you know how to build your constructor. Now we are seeing how to write methods. Now we are seeing how to write methods. Understood? So this topic I'll open up tomorrow. And it's not mandatory that when you write a subclass you have to do all the three. You can do anything. Okay, you can write 100 methods here. Where? In subclass. But each and every method you take, it will fall under one or the other category. You can write 100 methods. Now in the 100 methods, 10 can be what? New methods. Around 50 can be what? Overloaded. Around 40 can be what? Overridden. That happens. Understood? So it's up to you. There's no hard and fast rule that your class should have do all the three things, your subclass. Sometimes till now I was writing only extra method I was writing. It was working fine now. What was the extra method writing? M1 means I was writing M2. That's how you're doing it. Okay. So this is how we actually logically and technically write a class. Understood? So tomorrow I'll be concluding with how to write methods. Now the subject of overriding opens up. Big subject. And this is what will lead into something called as dynamic polymorphism. The most important subject of Java. Okay. So work hard in this. So inheritance is so huge, vast and important. Understood? Inheritance is the toughest concept here. In as compared to what? The other three, OOPS concept. Which one? Encapsulation, abstraction, polymorphism. Okay, but inheritance is tough. Okay, reason you'll start understanding. Why? Still inheritance is over, huh? It will never get over. Throughout your life also you'll be learning what? Throughout your life you'll learn, not here. So inheritance is such a vast subject. Yeah? So just if you want to put SOPs and see today. Okay, tomorrow before you come, it will be on round of practice for you. So that you put here simple SOP inside class A, M1, SOP inside M2 of class A. Simply put SOP, see the flow. You just see the flow, you'll only come to know. You work with both the objects. A object also you work, B object also you work. So tomorrow when I start writing, in fact you bring more questions so that I can teach you more of overriding in a better way. Understood? So this is the very new topic, okay, so which you are not aware of. I'm clearly warning you, practice this hard. Throughout your life you only override, nothing else you do. Nothing else you do. Understood? I'm clearly telling you, work on some of the best technologies. In all technologies you will be doing only what? Overriding. And criteria for overriding, remember, is the class. Means which object, the object. Criteria for overriding is what? The object. That you don't forget. Example, class C extends B. Example, multi-level. All this will be seeing tomorrow. Class C extends B. There you override M2. What will happen? CC is equal to new C. M2 of C gets executed. Yes, that is what you wanted. You didn't want the logic of A also. You didn't want the logic of B also. That is why you are overriding what? C. M2 in C. That's how it goes logically now. So when you want now, this is how your inheritance will start happening. You want the functionality of A, use and add extra logic. You want both the functionality, then what you do? Go for C, change the logic. No, I don't want the logic of B. I want the logic of A. Hierarchical. So this is how inheritance will start off, which I'll be explaining. So once I complete the subclass data type, then we'll go into different types of inheritance. Why we do, when we do, how we do, how you do, you know now. So all this I'll be explaining you. Clear? Then we have to study the topic of generalization, specialization. All those topics I'll revise. So it will be very clear for you that time. So today actually I taught you only super with methods. Just focus on that, see and come. Tomorrow's topic is overriding. So don't think I've completed overriding. I've introduced overriding to you. Okay, which will be taken in depth from next classes. Yeah, just today I've introduced only one thing, super with methods. That's it. Okay, that's it.